And welcome back to an older edition of the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. 57 is the name this time. 11 years older than our guest today. Not in studio or on the air, but he was a special guest for all of wrestling fans this week. And his name is William Dadberg. William Dadberg came back to the company, and that's one of the big things that's happened. Did anything else remotely even happen that makes us want to care? I wanted to say jump for joy, but nothing does that anymore, so I just kind of left it go. Hi everyone. Welcome back. Optimism, it's a thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to take a bite of a pretzel. I muted myself, hoping you would go on to a big diatribe of Dadberg, and you left me hanging. And my mouth dry because I'm thirsty now.
Dadberg, what's there to say? I mean, he's clearly less muscular and needs to go on a cycle.
He needed to wear a big jacket.
Yeah, obviously to cover up his not nearly as muscular physique.
But he could lift up children in the audience.
Oh, barely. I mean, he barely got his own kid up.
Well, his
Time
kid's
to hit
fat.
the weight, Goldberg. Oh, good point.
But so, what was before we get into anything? What was your favorite part of the week? Because you're a Dub C Dub guy, because you were alive during that era, and not only that. But yeah, that's all I got. That's really all I got.
Yeah, I mean, he was a big deal in WCW. I was never a huge Goldberg fan. Certainly, he was a superstar there, one of their top guys in the history of the company. And, you know, I was never, again, the whole thing was impressive, but I was never a huge Goldberg fan.
But he is, according to Michael Cole, I couldn't think of anything insulting with his last name. Goldberg is the greatest WCW champion ever. Which now, and that brings up a good question. Who was that a dig to? Because that is not true, and it's not even an argument. And if someone wants to make that argument, you're an idiot. It's not true. That'd be like saying CM Punk's the greatest WWE champion of all time. It's just not true. Both are equally as over in their eras, are comparative to the audience that watches today. Correct, fact, but it's just not true.
Yeah, his run in some ways is similar to the Ultimate Warrior in WWF. Both very big, high intensity, muscular guys that weren't great workers, but had some sort of a special ed factor and
charisma.
They both had runs at the top that were brief, basically. So
Warrior? I thought Warrior was on top for a while.
No. Nope.
Really?
Really. They tried, it just didn't work out. So there's a lot of similarities you can draw, but yeah, I think for that reason, it's hard to say that he's the greatest WCW champion of all time, especially when you talk about Hulk Hogan, who's the greatest wrestler of all time, in my opinion. And you talk about guys like Nature Boy Ric Flair, who was a staple of NWA / Jim Crockett Promotions / WCW, whatever you want to call it. But, guys like Flair and Hogan, I mean, they're greater champions than Goldberg. I hate to tell Goldberg fans that.
But see, here's my thing, okay? Why would he say that? Why would Vince make Cole say that? It's just it's a dumb thing to say.
Well,
Michael.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a dumb thing to say, but here's the thing: they didn't care about him when he was just a WCW guy coming in. They had no problem using him and burying him to put Triple H over. Yeah, but now that they need him, they need that Band-Aid star power.
Yeah,
they're going to promote him like a big, huge deal, like a big star. the greatest WCW champion ever. By the way, they never treated him like that when he was full time. So that tells you what they really think. So it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, he's coming in. He's going to probably lose to Lesnar, and that's that.
All right, let's be honest here. Do you really think that he's going to lose? Why would he come in and lose? Because if he's going to come in, put over Bray Wyatt, put over Roman Reigns, that would be something.
No. Fuck no.
So Goldberg's going to come in and lose to Brock and go home.
Hopefully. No. Look. Here's you bring up a great point. Here's the dilemma, though. It's something I've talked about on Twitter, and the dilemma is this match is really a no-win, right? This is to maybe pop a rating or buy rate or the network or whatever.
It already did pop a rating.
But really, long term, there's no plan here. This doesn't benefit them in any way, and they've taken a situation where they could get long-term gain out of it, and they've decided not to go that direction. It's just illogical. So let's say Goldberg wins. Okay, Goldberg wins. He ends up going in the Hall of Fame, blah, blah, blah. If he never wrestles again, he never puts anybody over. You've got a 50-year-old guy who's been out of wrestling forever, and he comes back, and he beats your top guy, the guy you've booked better than anyone in the company, and then leaves. So now you've buried the guy who's buried everybody else. So where do you go from there building up anyone legitimate? You can't. You're fucked. You have fucked your own self right up the ass. So, that being said, if Brock Lesnar wins,
yeah, what if he does win?
Then what was the point of this? What is gained? What is gained from this? In other words, better if Goldberg came back to put a current full-time guy over. Brock Lesnar gets nothing out of this
because he leaves and doesn't come back until Mania, which is mid-February.
Yeah, he'll come back maybe Royal Rumble, and that's it. And so you've fucked yourself over right up the ass.
But they don't care.
But they just they don't. I mean, clearly they don't care. They don't get it. They're too stupid. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't really matter. It's the same result.
Okay, so put yourself in the shoes of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, all right? You're going to have Goldberg come in and do what he does best, kick some ass. He even said it in his promo. He does that against a full-time guy. Who would it be? My pick's Roman Reigns 110%. But you have Goldberg play the sympathy babyface while Big Nuts Reigns is the monster heel. You know what I mean? Because Goldberg gave a babyface promo, and they can already empathize with him. He's a dad. He was a superhero. He wants to be that again. He can lift kids out of the crowd with a struggle, and that's my kind of thing. I would have that happen 110%. I would not waste Braun Strowman, that douchebag. I would not waste his talent on a Bill Goldberg, somebody that can pop a rating. They got a 3.1 million on average for Raw instead of a 2.5. What does that do? That's 600,000 people. That's fuck money right there. And you know what? It's going to go down the drain when he faces Brock because people are going to realize once the match starts, they're not going to want to watch it anymore. So they're going to turn off the television.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a good match. I mean, we know that. But, I mean, there's no real benefit to this whole thing, like I said. So long term. Anyway,
you're right.
So that is what it is. Now, I actually heard someone. I think this was actually a tweet I read on Twitter. Actually,
was it the one that I had to deal with Monday night?
And they suggested that Goldberg's opponent be Braun Strowman.
No way.
And I just wondered. How stupid do you have to be to think that?
Pretty damn dumb, actually. I mean, now the facts are there. That would be the worst thing you could ever do. I would have accepted Ryback in 2012.
Could you imagine that match, Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar?
I don't want to.
Or Goldberg?
No. Because it gives me a migraine just thinking about it. No, of course not. It sounds awful.
No. I'll tell you what I would have done. Goldberg would have showed up on Smackdown, which is the lower rated show.
Not by much.
And Goldberg would be facing Baron Corbin.
Oh, you're biased as hell.
And Baron Corbin would defeat him soundly and get the rub.
All right, take off your biased big dick hat, okay? Who would you really... Why not Roman Reigns? Tell me that logically.
Why not Roman Reigns?
Yeah, someone that actually has the appeal to be a top guy. You're just not going to fuck with him?
Who says he has the appeal to be a top guy? It hasn't worked out so far.
Whose fault is that?
Well, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. It hasn't happened. I mean, 3 years plus, it hasn't happened. That's at some point you got to say, like when a guy keeps getting divorced, at some point you got to say, well, maybe it's also my fault too, not just the woman every time.
All right, we're gonna
3 plus years. Sure, of course they hold a lot of responsibility, but damn it, he does too. So you say that, but it's like two baby faces. They both have the same finisher. I just don't see how this is going to be the thing that puts Roman over the top, being, the top baby face, the top guy, etc.
Yeah,
I don't see how that's going to do anything really for him to advance where he's at. Someone like Baron Corbin, it would absolutely advance him.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it definitely would.
And I would have him fuck it. I would have him kick out of 20 spears.
That's Jesus Christ.
Get that weak shit out of here.
Stop it. All right. Well, and we're talking about connecting the fans to the product itself in various ways. And that is just the on-screen product itself. How they present such and such action in such and such way. Dean I Am Petro this week has a lengthy run, and he's going to run and stay here for a little bit, all right? Think about it if Sonic the Hedgehog got a cramp in his hamstring, all right, like a Charlie horse. So instead of Dean just running in like Sonic the Hedgehog, boom, like that, he's going to run fast. He's gingerly. He's like Kevin Nash gingerly walking through the crowd to get to the ring. Remember that promo? I'll never forget it. So this week's very insightful and analytical, and it's interesting. I recommend you listen to the whole thing. Well, Brad and I have to. At least I have to. Not because he's my buddy, because I think he brings up a lot of good points. And in the end of it all, Brad and Dean end up agreeing almost all the time. Which, by the way, Brad, Dean did say how funny that was this past Friday when I saw him at work. Seriously, think about it.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It is. All right, so without further ado, here's Dean once again. Give it a listen. Stay here. Damn it.
All right, guys, I hope you'll be patient with me on this one. It might be a little bit longer than normal.
I already said that.
I think this is an important run-in because what I'm looking at this week is based off some things that Brad and John, you guys said last week that I agree with. And I think it needs to be said because, hey, we do it. Everyone does it. Everyone's complaining about the WWE product. It's not good. It's not a good product. But no one figures out what to do about it, and mostly because Vince McMahon would never listen anyway. But I kind of racked my brain, and you guys kind of hit on something that kind of sparked my thought process. Something perked me up, and it was when you guys were talking about Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. I've actually kind of also been running around in my head, why does AJ Styles work and Kevin Owens doesn't? Both came from the independents. Neither looks like a Hulk Hogan. I know Owens is fat, doesn't have the body type, but guess what, guys? Neither did Mick Foley, and so that argument doesn't carry any weight with me. Kevin Owens is entertaining. Then you guys mentioned Rusev. Now, he should be booked as a monster heel, and how he would have the most heat, and that's what sparked it in my head. Not necessarily Rusev, but I don't disagree. I think back to the Attitude Era, and while widely panned now as Crash TV, there are elements of the Attitude Era that need to return. First, the big angle. This is why AJ Styles is working better than Kevin Owens, but not to a Cena Rock type of big angle level. It's intertwined with what the Attitude Era brought us during the Monday Night Wars. It's the, holy crap, I feel like I'm going to miss something if I miss this show, and AJ Styles can give us that, but they haven't been doing that with the writing that Kevin Owens has. Their champion and their big angle on Raw just doesn't bring it. What is the big angle on Raw right now? Can you really name it? Is there a big angle? Is there something they're really building big towards with Kevin Owens? No. You can name some angles, but not a big angle. Not an Austin McMahon, not an NWO, not Rock Austin, not Austin Bret Hart, not Shawn Michaels Bret Hart.
Punk Cena.
Shawn Michaels Bret Hart. Look how long that angle was carried. That angle was carried for about 6 months. And every week there was something like, oh, I gotta see what happens. I gotta see what Bret says. Shawn Michaels super kicks Bret Hart out of a wheelchair. There's always something happening to advance the angle. Now, I don't know the inner workings of WWE, but it doesn't seem like they get their WrestleMania plan and work backwards anymore. And that's a mistake, because you get the big angle and you work backwards, you might have better success in writing. So, fantasy booking's a popular thing. Everyone thinks they can book. I'm no exception. I'm not doing this as a fantasy booking, but it's an example. Just an example of the types of things that WWE should look to do. And this would help them in incorporating a big angle over a period of time. So let's go with a rumor that I've heard that Cena and Undertaker are going to be facing each other at WrestleMania. Okay, so Cena and Undertaker are out of this mix. They don't have to be the big angle. The big angle that I think could work and could still have time to work for this upcoming WrestleMania is the Shield versus the Club. The impetus for the Shield Club storyline, you have even splits on both shows. You could start planting the seeds on Raw. Does anyone remember when Hunter and Shawn very first teamed up? In kayfabe, they were forced to team up. They didn't like it. They outwardly said it. I don't want to team with him. I don't want to team with him. But they discovered their common ground, formed DX, and they made it work. So, you could have common enemies dealing with Rollins and Reigns, each of them reluctantly maybe helping each other along the way, walking out on each other afterwards or whatever, and then tease the tension between them, have it all come to a head at the 5-on-5 Survivor Series, where Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns go into business for themselves and destroy the rest of the 5-on-5 teams, including members of the club, who will take exception to that. Over the next few months, make it so that Styles is WWE champion, Rollins and Reigns eventually win the tag team championships on Raw, and then a 3-on-3 elimination match at WrestleMania can be for all the gold. You can build a week-to-week on each show. You can build, crossovers, people running in onto the other show. You could make it interesting. You can make it, as the Miz would say, must-see TV. Over the next few months, you also can start a new angle, one for the following WrestleMania, because it won't work for this WrestleMania. And that is Cena versus Triple H, Ric Flair as the special guest referee for the vacant WWE Championship, and the winner is the one who breaks Flair's record. Yeah, Hunter and Cena would each have to win the title. Hunter has to win it twice, Cena once, and then they would be both tied at 16 with Ric Flair. So you've got time, though. Over the period of a year and a half, you've got time to make that happen. You can kayfabe how the title becomes vacant. Maybe AJ Styles has it. Maybe he has a kayfabe injury. Hunter was the number one contender, but Cena won the Royal Rumble. Then they'll face each other at WrestleMania. Something like that. I mean, it's you can figure out a way to do it. The point is, the big angle stories need to build week to week. There needs to be advancement of a story from week to week over long periods of time, and that's where Raw in particular is lacking. Does anyone remember the great double turn between Hart and Austin? Yeah, of course you do. Does anyone remember that 6 days earlier, Bret Hart planted the seeds by shoving McMahon to the ground and going off on a profanity-laced tirade while he was still a face? People may remember that happened. They might not remember that happened just 6 days before that WrestleMania. They were building a story. The stories need to be built week to week on a big angle, not just little angles and little payoffs, big angles. And one more thing. Everyone's talking about how WWE needs to find the next Cena, the next Rock, the next Austin. Remember this. They didn't try to make Austin a star. He was the ringmaster. Austin 316 did that. They didn't try to make The Rock a star. Rocky Maivia, Rock did it with his promo work in the Nation of Domination. They didn't try to make Cena a star. The ruthless aggression and then the rap gimmick, that was Cena getting over, and they had to turn him face. Vince McMahon, you cannot force star power. They have to happen organically. It's tough to be patient and wait, but if you write the stories well enough and write into big angles well enough, that next star will emerge. This is how you fix the product. Don't force the stars. Create big angles and write can't miss TV. Make it happen, Vince.
As always, I ask for your thoughts.
Obviously, I like the fundamentals of what he said, about the proper storytelling, and you can't force stars. I mean, in fact, what we've seen is Vince McMahon doesn't know how to create a star anymore. They sort of happened by accident, right? I mean, they wanted to fire Cena from developmental. The whole rap gimmick, they thought he was terrible.
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, The Rock, again, he was absolutely hated. He was just a mid-carder. It was lightning in a bottle. Same thing with Austin, etc.
Die, Rocky, die.
Yeah, I mean, so again, what we're seeing for a long time now is that Vince doesn't know how to create a star, but rather it happens on its own organically by having a moment. Now, those moments aren't going to happen when you have 100% scripted promos and PG basic storytelling that doesn't have continuity, etc. So there's a huge gap in there that if they want to create stars, they can't have 50-50 booking, and they can't have a lot of the weak storytelling and the overly scripted, cheesy, corny promos that they have today that just aren't relatable to adults. So great points there. I don't buy Kevin Owens as a champion.
Me neither.
Yes, he's certainly fat. So is Mick, but Mick Foley is a minimum of 6'2". Mick Foley is a very big guy in person. As you know, I am also a very big guy.
Yes.
I've been up close to him, and he's a big guy. He towers over Kevin Owens, and he had a lot of previous credibility coming in. And so, I mean, I don't think you can make a comparison between the two at all to justify Kevin having the title. I think he's just not a good decision. His run has been completely lackluster for him, and I haven't been excited by it at all. I haven't been excited by his feud with Seth Rollins at all. I think the Shield and the club would have been good basically a while ago. Now, I don't think the timing is right. I think you've got Dean's doing so well on SmackDown right now on his own. And then you've got AJ doing so well on SmackDown on his own. And they've just completely fucking killed Gallus and Anderson. I mean, it's just a total joke.
Yeah, they're clowns, dude.
Yeah.
When was the last time they won a match that was longer than 1 minute? How and
Shit.
On the same token, how many matches have they lost under 2 minutes recently?
A ton. I mean, you just had on Raw where Carl Anderson lost in like under 2 minutes to Cass. So
and it's ridiculous. It just is.
Yeah. Speaking of Raw,
and those are two guys. Wait, all right, and it always frustrates me, and it goes back to my point every week. The reason that things happen because you don't want them to happen, or things that you want to happen don't, is because Vince McMahon says "fuck you." That's why. It's Vince McMahon, and he wants what he wants, and he says what he says, and he gets what he gets. He's the top guy. He owns the company, CEO. Blah 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 blah. Down the line. And it comes back to a news report that came out this week, probably fabricated, but hey, it sounds logical, that a lot of people backstage want Vince to not run the company anymore. Now, that reality, whether good or bad, is something to swallow, because just because Vince isn't running the company anymore on TV, maybe he can run the business side of it, which he's a financial mogul to his own credit. That doesn't mean it's going to get better. because you have guys like Kevin Dunn, who needs a flaming arrow through his testicles. You have, and by the way, sounds harsh. You know what? I doubt Kevin Dunn has made any decision in his life except, yes, Vince, that sounds great. He might not have any other words in his vocabulary. Triple H and NXT, look what's happening.
How about spit or swallow, Vince?
Well, to be more vulgar, yeah, probably on the weekends. You have Triple H and NXT. Look, and Vince has to give the okay, I believe, on big NXT happenings, but not the day-to-day. Look how Triple H runs NXT, right? It was supposed to be developmental with a Roman Reigns, a Bray Wyatt, a Charlotte, who, Brad, to your point to play devil's advocate, are truly developed stars from the inside. That no one can argue, right? You can't. Bray Wyatt was Husky Goddamn Harris. Look what happened. Roman Reigns was Joe Anoa'i, or Joe. He wasn't Roman Reigns in develop. He wasn't Roman in FCW. Leaki. He was Leaki. Roman Reigns. Charlotte was always Charlotte. Did not wrestle anywhere else. There have been developmental stories that are success stories, but not very many. I can count them on two hands tops, and on one hand for the truly very successful.
Yeah, especially when you look at when you take out FCW, because that was not run by Triple H. That was not Triple H's idea or concept. When you look at strictly talent who have come into NXT that are learning how to wrestle, not someone who wrestled in the indies for 10 years. And when you look at the talent that they have created, it is a total failure.
So we're going to play a game right now, actually, Brad. We are going to play developmental or not. Feel free to play along now. And I'm only going to name the people that are on that have made a TV appearance or are on TV itself. I have not watched NXT in 4 weeks because I'm busy. So I'm sure I'll recognize most of these names. All right. Alexander Wolf. Axel Tischer is his real name. Is he developmental or not?
Indy.
Correct. German professional wrestler.
Yep.
And for bonus points, independent circuit for 11 fucking years. So he is not. Cien Andrade Almas.
Yeah, he wrestled in Mexico. He's another established star.
Correct. Angelo Dawkins.
Indies.
Maybe. All I see here is a 3-sport athlete, football, wrestling, and track. No, he never wrestled independently. However, he's awful. Doesn't count. Austin Aries. Don't need to even give in. Bobby Roode. Okay. All right, we're gonna look for people not wrestling on NXT.
Well, we're going through the NXT portion of the roster.
Bronson Matthews, Buddy freaking Murphy, who, by the way, has a new character. Everyone should check it out. It's actually pretty creative.
These guys they're like 90-95% indie.
Yeah, he wrestled in MCW and PCW, Australian born. Dash Wilder, definitely indies. Don't tell me otherwise. Elias Sampson, wrestled in Pittsburgh, ICW, baby. Eric Young, Kenta, wow. Kenneth Crawford, irrelevant. Nick Miller from TM61, we know where he came from. No Way Jose, same. What's that?
Nakamichi.
Nakamichi.
Nakamichi, Japan.
No Way Jose, CWF Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
Oni Lorcan, he's an idiot. Patrick Clark, MCW. Rich Swan, Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he's an indie guy too for years.
Riddick Moss, everywhere else. Roderick Strong, everywhere else. Samoa Joe, NXTNA. Sawyer Fulton, that's one I want to look up. Because that one I don't know off the top of my head. Mid-Ohio Wrestling, there's my answer. Scott Dawson, same thing. Shane Thorne, who is that? TM61. Okay, same. Australia. Shinsuke Nakamichi, Japan. Steve Cutler, no one cares. Tina Sabatelli was released. This needs updated. Tucker Knight, he's fat. Hold on. I hope no one gets offended by we're calling people fat. You're obese.
Well, who really cares if they do? If you don't like it, turn the goddamn podcast off or shut the fuck up.
Tucker Knight, developmental, but he's garbage. Last but not least, Ty Dillinger, completely underrated, misused. I feel bad for him because he's extremely talented. Wesley Blake, Australia. This and we're almost done with this. We have the females left, but this I think is where they fucked up. Ayalea in her early career, she was in the independent circuit, Squared Circle Wrestling in Canada, New England Championship Wrestling, PWA, Pure Wrestling Association, Asuka, Japan, Billie Kay, Australia, correct?
Indies.
Daria, that one I don't know. Did she come from the Indies too? Or is she an MMA fighter?
I'm not sure.
We're going to find out together. She was mixed martial arts when she was 17. She's truly developmental. I think only appeared on one episode since last year. Ember Moon. Do I really need to go further? Liv.
Indies. Yeah.
Yes. Liv Morgan. We are almost done for those of you who have no attention span.
Indies.
Liv Morgan. Incorrect.
No, she's Indies.
Why? Wikipedia says otherwise, my good friend.
Okay, she's non-WWE, but she has a wrestling background.
She does.
100%.
Mandy Rose, same thing as Daria. Yeah. Doesn't really... Mickey James. Wow. Nikki Cross. Nicola Glenn Cross. Indie circuit for over 7 years. And last but not least, Peyton Royce, one of my favorites.
Indies.
So, what do we learn here? 98% of people that are on the NXT TNA roster are truly developmental. However, an argument was brought up by Dean, and I would like for your rebuttal, is NXT developmental for people to develop their skills or for people to develop wrestling skills in general? Because I think someone like Hideo Itami did need to develop his American skill set. Even already having a wrestling skill set in general. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really for two things, right? It's for learning how to wrestle, or it's for, guys with experience who are going to the main roster that haven't been with WWE or haven't been on TV, need to learn the WWE style, camera positioning, etc., that kind of a thing. That should be basically a very short tenure. Itami should have been on NXT a very short time. Like Shinsuke Nakamura, he should have been there a very short time before going to the main roster. Those guys don't belong in NXT. They belong there a very brief time at the most.
Or Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Eric Young, Bobby Roode.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
It really is. And I would like to... There's a reason why Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr., two of the Mark's favorite wrestlers in the world, didn't sign contracts.
Yeah.
And they did it the smart way. But that's neither here nor there. Yes, if your friends think NXT is developmental, play that game. That's all you have to type in is NXT roster in Google. It'll come up with the Wikipedia page, and you can prove your friend wrong. One after one.
The amazing thing here is they have probably 60 guys or more walks of life that aren't indie guys that they have, got at the Performance Center that they've chosen not to put on TV. And some of these guys have been signed for years.
Yeah.
And they've never been on TV. They've never worked an NXT show. So, I mean, clearly that they're proving that at least the TV product for NXT is for guys who already have experience. They're not giving, those guys who are not from the indies experience. They're not yet. The only way they're going to learn is actually getting on TV in front of a crowd and doing it, and also granted with a couple of veterans as well. You can't learn from someone who's as lost as you are, so I get that, but that's why someone like a Rhino was a good fit for NXT, because he's a veteran. You can use him to help put guys over, help teach them how to work, etc.
Yeah, I like
but
that.
they're just totally misusing it. They're totally just it's a failure.
It is. Now, before we move on to Raw and SmackDown, which truly aren't that eventful aside from one or two things, Mickie James' return, who was supposed to be Trish Stratus, but Trish got pregnant, and now Mickey's in that role. She'll be facing Asuka in NXT Toronto. I think it's a crock of shit, but that's my cynical opinion. Because why have Asuka? So she's undefeated, right? So why you're going to bring in a WWE veteran who hasn't wrestled for the company since 2000, I think 10, 11, maybe even earlier than that, 2007, 2008. What's the point? Like an outsider.
This is just like this is just like the Goldberg and Lesnar match. Okay, there's no long-term gain. This is a short-term gain. Okay, they're probably going to bring her in to have Asuka go over her, and at the end of the day, it does nothing for anybody. And that could have been an actual full-time talent being put into a higher positioning, having that match.
Yeah, like why can't Peyton Royce or Billie Kay fight Asuka? Whose fault is that? That's NXT booking's fault. The NXT marks are going to like what they like regardless of the fact, and they will let people know that, whether abruptly or ignorantly. And there has to be a contingency plan. If all of your wrestlers were Ember Moon is the obvious choice, but again, why build another talent? Because you need Mickie James right now to sell tickets. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't get it. You know, if you're going to sell tickets and be a touring brand and be a wrestling brand alternative to the Raw or SmackDown brands, then that's what you need to be, not developmental. So they need to kind of make up their fucking mind. But anyway,
yes.
Enough about NXT. I want to get into Raw. What a fucking abortion.
Oh, man. That's
feeding the Shining Stars and Titus O'Neil. I mean, who came up with that idea and actually thought that would be good?
Listen. The best part was it was a mobile push to the people with the app on their phone. Oh, how awful. And they tweeted it. They're like, check this out. We have the worst 6-man of all time. It's going to be great.
I just don't get it. Chris Jericho does continue to be the most entertaining.
Yes.
You know, I thought the whole Sheamus and Cesaro thing is so fucking boring to me. It's so stupid. You know, Sheamus is getting distracted. Cesaro's playing on his smartphone on social media apps and recording the match and distracting Sheamus. And Big E gets the roll-up win from behind while he's distracted with Cesaro.
But hey,
like this stuff is so childish and stupid, and it's going nowhere. They're not going to win the titles. This is a total waste. This is just so dumb. Bo Dallas squashing Neville.
Yeah, what was that about? Right? And then he beat up Curtis Axel. He's getting fired.
Bo Dallas is receiving the biggest push of his career after getting arrested.
I forgot about that.
And everybody is puzzled. I don't know if he has, nude pictures of Vince or something, but Neville's a guy who belongs in the cruiserweight division. He's being completely wasted. He has no direction. They've just totally killed him. He's not the man that Gravity forgot. He's the man that Creative forgot. Dana Brooke and Bayley. How bad is Dana Brooke, and how often do I say this, right?
A lot. And Becky could have... Becky. I'm looking at a picture of her right now. Bayley could have been hurt.
What, you think? I mean, she basically... Dana dodges her. She kind of hits her head on the ring rope. And then Dana just kind of jumps on her and covers her for the win. She tried to hook her foot on the rope, but she botched it and pulled her too far out. So she tried putting her leg on the rope and missed. So it was just Bayley falls against the rope, drops down, she covers her and just pins her after basically no move. I mean, that's like, how fucking bad is that ending?
one of the worst.
And who keeps pushing? Who keeps pushing? Fucking Dana Brooke, Vince. She sucks.
well, she did get a boob job, and not only that, Bailey's getting buried. So we have two problems that needed.
Oh
addressed.
God, tell me about it. Bailey getting buried. It's like I had a conversation with some guy about this on Twitter, and how stupid you have to be to think that basically, besides one or two matches, she's lost every match, and to think that that's okay. No, that's what you're doing to Sami Zayn, a mid-card guy. That's not okay. That's not okay if you expect her to be a top person in the company, a top woman in the division.
Don't hate on Sami Zayn. He is a saint.
I'm not. He's just a mid-carder, and that's how they present him. But you don't present top guys or top girls like that. That's just a fact. So it's not okay. You're not going to get her over like that. They've taken someone who may be the biggest women's star possibly ever, and they've just totally squandered her so they can continue to push Sasha and Charlotte for fucking the entire year.
And that brings, okay, so for people that like to get mad at us, not us, but wrestling fans defaming women's wrestling, we are not. We love women's wrestling. I do. But here's the, and I have arguments with my friends on a consistent basis. And hear me clear, no one in wrestling draws anymore on a level that it used to be or that it should be. Period. If you argue with me, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Look at the facts. They're there. I'm not speaking out of my ass. I'm speaking out of a fact sheet in front of me. If Triple H, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Roman Reigns are the WWE Universal Champion, you know what? Maybe even Finn Balor. I'll put him in the conversation because that guy was over as a rover before Seth Rollins hurt him. Yeah, I said it again. That match between Sasha and Charlotte would have never, ever in the history of mankind would have ever been considered for a main event. Ever. Period. End of story. That's it. It's my diatribe.
Of course. Sasha and Charlotte being a main event is just an indictment on Kevin Owens as champion.
Absolutely.
And that's all there is to it. And you can get mad. But at the end of the day, if Brock Lesnar is your champion, if John Cena is your champion, etc., then no way are those two the main event of any show.
Why do you think...
It's the reality.
You're right. Why do you think Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch isn't the main event on SmackDown? Can you agree Becky and Alexa have a good feud going? Their matches are consistently good. Their promos are good. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they the main event? Why aren't they even being considered for the main event of their own damn show? Because they don't have to.
The answer is obvious.
Because they don't have to. They have real main events to showcase, real things to look forward to.
That's not a knock. It's just reality.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you don't have to like it. Nobody has to like reality. It just is reality.
It just
you
is.
Just have to deal with it.
And if you don't, then you're ignorant, and I apologize. I can't help you.
Braun Strowman appears to be heading towards a feud with young Samuel Zayn, and he's going to squash him, I would assume.
What if... All right, Brad.
What if on the compelling Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman feud?
What if Sami Zayn does win? Honestly, I understand where anyone logically would come from, but let's be true shit. What if he actually does win? You know,
it would be a good win for him. Absolutely.
And then what would you do with Sami after that? Obviously, if you're beating a wrestler who can beat up three guys at once, shouldn't you be fighting for the title? Maybe. Shouldn't you have more relevance on you? Absolutely. It's Braun Strowman. This is what they failed to do with Ryback. Who, by the way, who beat Ryback's streak? R-Truth, right? No.
it was very... yeah, it was like very anticlimactic. It was
awful.
A bad decision, yeah.
Hold on. Who beat... I have to look this up on Google. Who beat Ryback's By the way,
there was a time Ryback had he had a lot of momentum at one time, and that was when Cena was hurt and they rushed him into a feud at the end of the year with CM Punk while CM Punk was champion.
Yes.
That was where he repeatedly hurt Punk at matches, allegedly. But they had a hot little feud there for 2 or 3 months.
Yes, I'm looking it up now. I think Bleacher Report, who I hate, has it. Bob Backlund, Undertaker, Moolah. They don't because they suck. I knew it. Give me a sec. Nope. Okay. It was CM Punk. I lied. But they didn't address it immediately. It was very awkward. CM Punk ended it in Hell in a Cell 2012 when I think Ryback did almost break his back. But if you have Sammy beat Braun, because I truly think that could happen. It has to be in a big match on a big show. Not the big show. That'd be stupid. A big show with repercussions. Like Sammy, if you defeat... This is where you can make it important. Sammy, if you defeat Braun Strowman and end his undefeated streak, you will get a title match for the WWE Universal, whatever. You get a championship match against Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins. You get a main event at the next pay-per-view. It's something, because that makes it relevant. Because why, if you get nothing out of something, why would you want to do it in the first place? Even if it's fake.
I just don't know about the continuity. It's questionable in this. I mean, Braun keeps saying to the WWE he needs competition. He's threatening them with he needs competition. And he's basically been presented into a story with the mid-card jobber, Sami Zayn.
A guy who should not be a mid-card jobber, mind you.
But I don't understand how this is an increase in competition. This is just his promo isn't matching what they're doing with the story. But I expect him to squash Sami Zayn, and that's that. But let's see what else. We talked about Big Cass going over Strong Style and Carl Anderson. The Cruiserweights continue to be used like the divas of the old, thrown into tag matches with no stories, and a lot of restrictions as to what they can do in the ring, and that much.
How bad is Lita, by the way? I'm sorry.
Oh my God. I really wish they would get rid of her already.
Well, she's pregnant, so she'll have to leave for a little bit.
Thank God. I mean, she's fucking terrible.
She truly is horrible. I hate to say it.
She is.
Oh man, I wonder who'd be better in an interview, her or
Otunga.
Scott Steiner. Yeah.
Well, Scott Steiner, that wouldn't even be close. He'd be hilarious. It may be bad, but it would be so bad that it's good.
Yeah, I guess so. What else?
Well, let's talk about SmackDown a bit.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I don't want to. Is this something that like you can use code for so I don't get spoiled? Is it spoiler worthy?
Well, let's talk about the Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt story continued.
Okay, good. Hey, long drawn out stories, things we don't see on Raw. I like it so far.
So definitely Kane and Luke Harper in that picture still.
Okay.
Alexa Bliss and Naomi continued their match.
Was it better? Please tell me. Please tell me it was
mini
better.
Feud. It was better than the last one.
Good. That's progress, Brad.
That's not hard to do, but Kurt Hawkins had a no contest.
Oh, so he actually did
should
wrestle.
He's doing the Eva Marie gimmick. I don't understand it. What happens? I mean, she's free to come back, and they've stopped doing anything with her.
He's the Eva Marie gimmick?
Yeah. He's showing up and saying you're not worthy, etc. That's what he did on SmackDown before, and then in this week, Cruz hit him, and then he says, "Oh, you ruined my debut. I'm leaving," and he left. And
I think that's kind of funny though. His promos are pretty funny. I actually like them.
Oh, I think they're terrible. I think the character's terrible. Okay. Carmella and Nikki Bella had an in-ring promo, and they continue their feud. This is the most intrigued than I am by a woman's story in the entire WWE anywhere.
Agreed.
Not just SmackDown.
Well, see, for me, it's Becky, Alexa because I'm biased. But yes, Mella and Nikki have been great. Didn't Carmella call out Nikki for using John Cena to get a higher platform? Brilliant.
Yeah. They had a good promo, and Carmella really held her own here. She's improving on a weekly basis. So this was a really good program for her to improve. We had the Miz and Spirit Squad kind of continue their deal with Dolph Ziggler. And Natalya asked to be the captain of the Team SmackDown women's team at Survivor Series.
No! What has she done? What has she done to deserve that? Nothing. To be I don't know. Idiot.
Well, she did show pictures of her cat too, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, why? Oh, that's so dumb.
So I don't know. He didn't say yes. So we'll see.
Good. Happens. Why wouldn't their champion be the captain? Is that not a thing? Are champions not in the Survivor Series matches?
You would think they would be the captain, yes.
Okay.
And Baron Corbin went over strong style on Jack Swagger, beating him in under 2 minutes with End of Days in dominating fashion.
I'm happy for you.
But what I want to say about this is they had the match, and I'm glad he just squashed Swagger. Very, very pleased about that.
I know you were.
Yeah. But you have to watch Talking Smack.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, because Baron Corbin was on Talking Smack.
Uh-oh.
And this time, he started off a tad slow and heated up, and man, what a performance.
Okay.
Him and Daniel Bryan, and you wanted to see them have a match. I mean, he just lit into him. Man, it was so good. And if that's the kind of heel he can play on TV, man, as I've been saying, he's so money as a heel. So,
all right, I will
You'll
watch
have to
that.
watch it though and tell me what you think.
I
Very,
certainly will.
very good stuff. And then James Ellsworth almost won the title, but instead won by DQ over AJ Styles. He at one point hit him with the no chin music for a 2.5 count.
That's kind of funny. I heard that AJ tried to put him in a chin lock and he just got out of it.
and he like touched his chin area like, I don't have one of those. What are you doing?
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, Dean was great as usual. If you're going to do that type of match, you need to have something like a Dean distraction, kind of doing some stuff on the outside, and so that's what they did. I'm not a big fan of them, with the title doing basically prostituting the title for this, but AJ and Dean have been so good in this, and Ellsworth was over huge. They were doing the old Goldberg-like chant for him, saying Ellsworth.
Really? Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
I hate this Ellsworth. I hate him. He needs to go forever.
You have to see this.
I see. Well, were they piped in or was it legit?
Oh no, these were legit chants.
You know what?
And then let's go AJ, let's go Ellsworth dueling chant.
That makes me I need to tweet. It's sad that James Ellsworth is more over than the entire Raw roster.
He's definitely more over than a lot of the current talent. Majority of them. But yeah, Dean, after the match was over, announced the winner. He was the guest ring announcer, and then hit Dirty Deeds on AJ Styles, and then raised Ellsworth's hand. Now, on Talking Smack, it was determined that Dean Ambrose, next week on SmackDown, will face AJ Styles. And if Dean wins, he will get a title shot on pay-per-view for the championship. I'm assuming at Survivor Series.
Yeah, that's the only. Or if they do it November 8th, like Becky and Alexa, they could do it there too.
Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting Dean to win that. He's going to get the next title shot. So
good. That just brings up another point.
I mean, I've loved the Dean and AJ stuff has been great.
It has. So I can assume Juan Cena is gone until what, Survivor Series ish, and then him and AJ will have a thing after that. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he probably will beat AJ for the title then.
Probably. Now that just brings up a point. So you have James Ellsworth, and this will be my final thought before we get to Dadberg. You have, we kind of talked about him already. James Ellsworth and a what's it called? A clipboard are more over than the entire Raw roster. So the fuck does that say? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Think about it. Just think about it.
I mean,
That it's depressing.
So many of those guys aren't over. Yeah. Yep.
It's in my word for it is sad. It's just sad.
It is sad.
And I wish it wasn't like that. I put that in my wrestling chat, by the way. I'm waiting for people to explode. And two people read it already. This is gonna get good. So before we end tonight's program, let's talk some Dadberg a little bit more. His comeback in general. Any thoughts on that? What in the hell was up with the entire roster in that little entryway before Gorilla cheering him on? It was a fucking circus. Are they cheerleaders for a guy that hasn't been there for 12 years? What was that about? Where was the police escort? Why didn't he break down the door? He opened the knob, turned it gently, and walked out like he was minding his own business. Come on. Really?
No, I think that's an excellent point. It's something I talked about on Twitter. Actually, I basically, it's like, I said, hey, if they don't have escort for Goldberg when he debuts, then they've failed. They've done it wrong. And naturally, not only do they not have a police escort, but they have their own talent who are full-time guys in the roster who look like total geeks and goons who are standing there clapping and looking like they're in awe of this real star, unlike them, Bill Goldberg. And I just thought that buried them all. It made them look so foolish and so Bush League in comparison to Goldberg. I hated it. Thought it was a terrible idea.
Awful. Were you surprised at how good Goldberg's promo was? Sounded very natural, non-rehearsed, and energetic. I thought it was really good.
I was shocked. I have to be honest. I was definitely shocked, pleasantly surprised. I mean, I thought it was a mistake to send him out there for 15 minutes or whatever it was for a promo, because that's just so not what his character has ever been, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he said,
kick ass, take names. You don't do a lot of talking. Yeah. And so to send him out there like Seth Rollins and every other guy on the roster for a 15-minute promo, I just thought that was a mistake. But he actually did a real nice job. It was very interesting too, because not only did he have the long promo, but they definitely humanized him with the family, etc. This was definitely not the same Killer Goldberg we saw in WCW. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Because they don't want him to be that Killer Goldberg, because that wasn't their gimmick they created. Even though they own the company, so technically they did. But besides the point.
I want to see the focus be on he wants to beat Brock rather than he wants to do this so his child could see him wrestle or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It reminds me of Sasha Banks, her interview on Raw with Lita.
The same fucking promo every time.
Oh, it's like, instead of saying I want to win the match, this title is so important to me, it was all about we're gonna make history.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
We know
that's not what a fucking feud that draws is about. It's about two people for a title, and they both want to fucking win it, and one of them is going to, goddammit, because it's important. And instead it was, oh, we're two chicks, we're doing this thing for the first time, and we're going to make history. It's so stupid.
Yeah, that make history crap should have been said like the first time. Not the 35th. That's just me, though. Before we go, you guys, I hope you guys realize that we did not talk about Paige, because honestly, I don't want to fucking talk about Paige. It's a fucking train wreck. Train wreck of a situation. I don't care. She was irrelevant when she was here. For the last 2 years, she's going to be irrelevant forever in the WWE's eyes, because she does not matter. She will be AJ Lee, just a figment of everyone else's imagination and dirty porn memes that they create. Just to get themselves off, because that's what they like to do. You know? That's it. That's it. Del Rio is a moron because he's still married and he accepted an engagement. You can't do that. You can get sued. You're an idiot. Because their divorce is not final. Your fucking lawyer should have knew that. Paige, unlike the 23-year-old imbecile that she is, should have went and asked Del Rio's lawyer behind Del Rio's back to keep it a surprise if she could do that without getting in trouble. But she didn't, because she's a dumb shit. That's the things that I don't like to talk about at length. I guess since I opened the...
Yeah, she's ruined her WWE career. And she's really had a falling out with their family. I mean, basically, they don't want her to do this. It's been made really clear on social media. They don't like him. They don't want her to do this. It's just high drama. I mean, she frankly looks like she's on drugs in recent pictures. It's just a high drama, sad situation, and I think her days of success in WWE are over.
Long over. And hey, she was getting that really nice paycheck from Total Divas and E! Network. That ain't happening at all anymore. After she's off the show, that is. But either way.
Can you believe... Okay, so TNA is being sued by Billy Corgan, who's also a part owner.
Yeah,
what a clusterfuck this is.
Yeah, that's awful.
And now, I guess it's the people who own Fight Network. Who is it? It is Anthem. That's who it is. Okay. Anthem Sports and Entertainment. They're the parent company of Fight Network. And they have offered to fund TNA. I mean, I literally can't believe it. They say TNA is a strong property for Fight Network and global distribution partner. We have a keen intent in seeing the company not only survive, but continue to grow and thrive alongside our own growth. We're hopeful that the company can soon get back to doing what it does best, which is to produce great wrestling content. And they have went on to offer to pay the money owed to Billy Corgan and the money to fund the product for a while. And I can't believe they think this is a strong product. This is a product that has never been profitable, probably ever. If it has, certainly never in years and years. I mean, they keep going down to lower level TV stations. The whole thing is a complete disaster. And so how you would keep funneling money,
idiot.
How she can keep conning people to give her money, it clearly is not going to ever grow or thrive again for an operation that you're basically keeping a dead dog alive with all these medical problems just to say it's alive.
Yeah, it's
right now.
Great metaphor.
So it's just really sad, and they just don't want to pull the trigger on getting rid of it. But someone's got to do it, because it's just a total embarrassment at this point, and it's never going to last. It's never going to grow. They need somewhere else to work. I'm sorry, there's also a point where they have to have some accountability as well. They've known this is a total disaster for a long time. They've known they're not getting paid for a long time, and they know they should not be signing deals with TNA where they have to work there and nowhere else and not get paid.
For sure.
Yeah. Who goes in and signs a deal with TNA?
I wouldn't. It's just, I just want them to fail so it can just end. It can all end. And I hope everyone there that deserves to get a job gets a job the next hour. I don't want people to be jobless. That's awful. But I want that company needs to die yesterday.
It does. It's like you just want to see them peacefully drift off to sleep and
yes,
fade into the darkness.
You're right. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Two more things before we end. Tommy and Big Damo, Big whatever. Crazy Mary Dobson joined the Performance Center, WWE. Congratulations to them. Developmental.
Big who gives a damo.
Mary Dobson will be great. Tommy End, I think, will be great too. But yeah, developmental. I say that again. Developmental. Last but not least, Mick Foley has sworn off Twitter until October 24th. Why? I don't know. He is emotionless, at least for logically preferred people. Someone was DMing him their displeasure. They put it on Twitter. His feelings got hurt, so he said no more Twitter. That's basically the end of it.
And he's already returned to Twitter. Yes, I'm serious. 24 hours later, he's back on Twitter.
Why?
This guy is a fucking disaster. I mean, seriously, he is. And I'm such a fan of his as a performer. But
yeah, I know.
Jesus Christ, he's such a disaster. I mean, he needs to stay off of the internet. Period. I mean, he's just one of those guys.
But
he's better off staying off of the internet.
But I hope his daughter doesn't. Last but not least, a rumored Hell in a Cell card just came out. Credit of NoDQ.com. The ones that are confirmed are Reigns, Rusev, Charlotte, Sasha, where one of them might die. Rollins and Owens, Cesaro, Sheamus versus New Day. We already know the outcomes of all of those, so who really cares? Perkins, Kendrick, the match that will draw people from the moon and back. Big ratings, small people. It's just irony. The following matches that are rumored: Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson.
Woo! I can't wait to see those guys lose again.
Bailey and Dana Brooke at Hell in a Cell.
Wow! Woo!
Bo Dallas versus Curtis Axel.
Oh my God, that's another one. After he squashes Neville, he attacks Curtis Axel. I'm like, oh no, please no, because I know where this is heading, and nobody wants to see that.
And then Braun Strowman versus my man Sami Zayn, which out of those four matches might be the only interesting one on it.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. I don't want to see it at all.
See, if they were to do this right, they should have had 3 months of build up of Strowman saying no, you suck, until they actually get a match and Sammy wins. That'd be the smart thing to do. But hey, we all can't get what we want.
Oh yeah, then they wouldn't be able to write Raw the night of the show.
Yeah, well, they have to do that. It's tradition. All right, it's been too long. Where can we find you on the Twitter machine? Because that's the only place that you really are.
At the VOTV podcast. Find me there. Dropping the scoops, interacting. A dumbass, I will block you instantly. But if you're not, then we will have a most enjoyable discourse about the Graps.
Good, graps and grabbing, like our presidential candidate would say. You can find me at Johnfish Gaming on Twitter, Johnfish3 at Twitch.tv, and Wrestling News Hub on Facebook. Any last words before we head off into the sunset once again until next week?
Not really.
Usually you have something real fast.
Oh, well, I was going to say something. I was going to say grab him right by the pussy, but I didn't think that would be very appropriate.
Not right now. No, but you said it anyway.
Yeah, I did. You kind of coaxed me into that. So now I've said it, and there's no going back.
Until next week, don't do what he says or what anybody says. Do what you want to do. Have a nice week.